Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss the new topic. The new topic is called PCR. PCR. This topic is very important. According to CBSE point of view, maybe the probability of chance to make the questions of 5 marks. So let me study the PCR technique in more detail. Who discovered PCR? What is the application of PCR? What is the significance of PCR? What is the mechanism of PCR? What is the principle behind PCR? First of all, we will discuss what is the meaning of a PCR. Look here, very important questions. P stand for polymerase. P stand for polymerase. C stand for chain. Polymerase chain. R stand for reaction. It is the full form of PCR. Very simple, very easy. 1 marks question that may be set up from here. What does the 3 alphabet letter PCR indicate? Polymerase chain reaction. So this is the full form of a PCR. Second questions. Who discovered PCR? PCR, it was invented by Carey Mullis in 1985. Very important questions next. Discovery of PCR, the credit for PCR discovery, it is goes to Carey Mullis. K-A-R-Y, Carey, M-U-L-L-S, Mullis, in 1985. Again, very important questions. Next questions. What is the aim of PCR? What is the objective of PCR? Very simple. This method, this chain reaction, it is used to get multiple segments of gene of interest. In short, we can say that if we want to take the maximum and multiple number of desired gene of interest, so we can use this method. This is called PCR. So this is the main aim, objective of PCR. It is used for amplification of DNA fragment. Amplification of gene of interest बोल सकते हैं आप, gene of interest बोल सकते हैं, या सिंपल वर्ड में बोल सकते हैं to make the multiple copies of DNA fragments. To obtain multiple copies of DNA fragments. So this is the main objective significance of a PCR. Next, principle. What does the principle says? Very simple. Principle of PCR. Principle of a PCR. Very simple. The principle of PCR states that when temperature is given to the double stranded DNA, what will be happen? You know very well. This base pair bonding, it can be easily break up. In short, we can say that within some time, when temperature is given, double stranded DNA, it is converted into the single stranded DNA. This is the principle of a PCR. Very simple. Next, raw materials requirements. Raw materials. Here you can say requirement. When you want to perform the PCR, what are the basic requirements. So let us discuss one by one. The first requirement is DNA template strand. This is the first requirement to perform the PCR. DNA template strand. Yes, simple. You can say DNA mother template strands. Second, you require 2 primer. Very important question. 1 marks question that may be set up, and skills that may be set up. How many primer are used in PCR? 2 primer are used. 2 primer. 2 primers. The third requirement, very important, use of enzyme. Use of a enzyme. Use of a enzyme. Which enzyme? Very simple. We already discussed Taq DNA polymerase enzyme, which is used in PCR method. What is the full form of Taq? Very important question. 1 mark questions. This T indicate a word. What does this indicate? The name of bacteria from where this enzyme is isolated. It is obtained. It is extracted. What does T indicate? It indicates the name. Which one? Thermus. Thermus. AQ. It is come from Aquaticus. 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 It means in shortcut. What we will write? We will take T from here. We will take A and Q. In short, you can say this is called a TAQ. For which purpose? To obtain multiple copies of a desired piece of DNA. This is the name of a enzyme, which is called Taq DNA polymerase, because this is involved in polymerization. Because we want to make the multiple copies of a particular segment of DNA, a particular gene of a interest. So this is the enzyme. One more question that may be set up. What is the significance of this enzyme? Why this enzyme are used in PCR, not any another enzyme? Very simple reason. Because this enzyme is thermostable. Very important questions. This enzyme is thermostable. Thermostable. It will be show the stability. इसके प्रति thermo means heat, it means temperature. Means this enzyme tolerate very high range of a temperature. How much the range of temperature? More than 90 degrees. So it can be tolerate more than 90 degrees Celsius. Because the first step of this PCR, which is called denaturation, that will be carried near about approximate 94 to 96 degrees Celsius. It means this enzyme is not degenerate. It will be stable at this high range of a temperature. So that's why this is the meaning of this word. It is called thermostable. It can be show the thermostability. Next, the fourth one. What are the other requirements? The fourth one. Some ions are used. The most common ion which is used in this PCR, that is called Mg2 positive, magnesium 2 positive. Write down here Mg2 positive. This is called magnesium 2 positive. So these are the some basic requirements which are used in PCR. If we want to perform the PCR, this is the basic need, this is the basic requirements. So this is, you can make heading, because the question that may be 5 marks. Discovery, principles, aim, requirements. Next step, which is called mechanism of PCR. Very important questions. Make a big heading. That is called mechanism of PCR. Mechanism of a This process is complex. It is a multi-step process. It is an enzyme involved process. So that's why. So let me check it. When this basically PCR method, it is complete into the 3 steps. Very simple. The first step is called denaturation. Look at the board. The first one is called denaturation. The second one is called annealing. Annealing. The third step is called extension. Extension. These are the basic 3 steps. Let me check what is denaturation. Look at the flow charts which is given here. The first step is called denaturation. This is called double-stranded DNA. In shortcut, write DSA DNA. What is the full form of DS double-stranded DNA? What you have given? Heat. When the temperature is given, our double-stranded DNA, it is separate into the ssDNA. It is converted into saDNA. It means single-stranded DNA. This strand above, this strand remain below. So this is the first steps. This is called denaturation. What is the meaning of denaturation? The original state of DNA, it is changed. Our double-stranded DNA, when the temperature is given, heat is given, it is converted into the single strand. So this is the first step. What is the range of temperature? Approximate. Approximate. MCQs that may be set up for 94 degree. In some book that may be written as a 96. This is the range of a temperature during the first steps, which is called denaturation. Let me move to the next steps, that is called annealing. This word indicates join. What join? Look here. The small box-like structure are given here and given here. This is nothing. This is called primer. One primer is attached here. Second primer, it is attached to the second lower strand. That's why how many primer we are using PCR? 2. So these are attached to the 3 end as well as 3 ends. That's why this is called annealing. Annealing, it means join. What join? Primer are add here. Primer are add here. हम primer को यहाँ पर क्या add करते हैं. Next. What is the range of temperature during annealing? The range of temperature here may be near about 40 degree to 60 degree. The third step is called extension. This step is also called polymerization. This is also called polymerization. One question that may be set up from MCQs: what is the another word which can be used for the extension? This is called polymerization. So look at the pictures. What will be happen when we can follow the 3 steps which is called extension? What we will use? We use the enzyme DNA polymerase. The complete name is called tagged DNA polymerase. What will be used? We can use nucleotide nuts. This is called DNTP. What is the full form of DNTP? Look here. D stand for deoxy nucleoside. TP stand for triphosphate. So this is the full form of DNTP. Deoxy nucleotide. T stand for tri. P indicate the phosphate. So DNTP. Right here. What we use? We use Mg2 positive ion. So these are addition of different kind of requirements here. So what will we make it? The upper strand, which is called 5' to 3', what will we make? It can be make the lower strand, which is called 3' to 5', and this lower one, which is the lower one, 3' to 5'. What will be make? It make the upper portion, which is called 5' to 3'. It means within some time we have one mother DNA template copy, we can make one and one, two copy. This is called DNA duplication, DNA replications. When 30 cycles of this PCR are completed, or within 30 cycle, how many copies of a gene of interest, a DNA fragment we can be obtained? We can obtain approximate 1 billion copies, means 10 to the power 9 copies are obtained within a shorted time periods. So this is the mechanism, this is the how PCR work. This is the basic mechanism of a PCR. That is complete in the 3 steps. In these last steps, it requires near about approximate 72 degree temperatures. To 94, 40 to 60 and 72 degree. It also uses some Mg2 positive ion. It also uses DNDP. It also required some enzyme. The name of enzyme is called Taq DNA polymerase. Next steps बनाएंगे इसी में significance of PCR. What is the use of PCR? Sometime PCR को एक simple definition में define किया हुआ है कि what is PCR? It is a method of DNA replication, DNA duplication in vitro condition. In vitro means outside the living, into the lab condition, laboratory condition, to make the multiple copies of gene of interest, या DNA fragments. That's why it is called in vitro DNA replication. DNA replication to make the many copies. So next heading बनाएंगे last one. This is called significance. Significance of PCR. The first significance, detection of pathogen. Detection of a pathogen. With the help of PCR, a particular pathogen is identified. Second one, detection of mutation. Detection of a mutation. Third one, in DNA fingerprinting technique. DNA, very important questions. Finger printing technique. This technique we already discussed in molecular basis of the inheritance. The fourth one, detection of pathogens. Sorry, microorganism. Detection of a MO stand for a microorganism. Next, diagnosis of prenatal disease. Diagnosis means identification of prenatal disease. Prenatal means before the birth. फिटस में जन्म से पहले कोई जेनेटिक डिसऑर्डर तो नहीं, उसका पता लगाने के लिए, ठीक है. दिस इज कॉल्ड प्रीनेटल डिजीज व्हिच इज बिफोर द बर्थ ऑफ फिटस. 6, जीन थेरेपी. जीन therapy, where the particular gene या DNA is perform the particular function, whether that is correct या incorrect. The last one, that is also called in the study of paleontology. In a study of a paleontology, कोई fossils है, कोई mummies है, ठीक है, उसके अंदर उसका जो DNA remains है उसको आइडेंटिफाई किया जाता है. For example, this is used in the cases of dinosaurs. The mummies of dinosaurs whose body remain thousands, millions years already, we can be easily identified. So these are the some basic applications. These are the significance of PCR. Where PCR are used. What are the basic requirements? What are the significance of PCR? So you can be make all these steps and you can be count. So question that will be set up 3 marks, 1 marks, 2 marks. So these are all one. Okay.